Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, The Data with Desi. I know it's been a long time since I last posted my video. It's been past 2 months, but due to certain personal work, office work, I've not been able to post videos regularly. But right now, I am back with the bang. I'll try to complete the iceberg cities entirely within the next 2 weeks, and then going forward, then we can decide that what can we study about, what can I teach you people, maybe about Apache hooting, maybe about Delta table format, or maybe about AI, right? What kind of AI aspects or AI knowledge we need to know as data engineers, correct? So yeah, so let's not waste time on what we are going to do in the future, but let's try to understand what we are going to do right now. Now, this video, what I want to explain to you people is basically related to the iceberg table format practical. Okay, now, what do I mean by the iceberg table format practicals? So basically, I'll teach you how to create any table using the iceberg table format. Okay. For that purpose, what I've done is basically I've taken the help of Databricks as the compute service and AWS as the cloud service. All right. Apart from that, like along with the creation of table, we'll also get to know that what kind of files are formed in the backend when we create a table using iceberg table format. We of course know that iceberg table format has its own metadata files, right? The manifest lists, the metadata file, the manifest files, right? The data files, whatnot. You all know about that, but not practically. So we'll look into those things practically right now. All right. On the screen, what you can see, we have two compute services, right? The Data Odyssey cluster and the Soumya Paridas cluster. Now, from the green sign, what we can understand is both of these are active right now, okay? But there's a minute difference between them. What is the difference? So it's in the runtime. What do I mean by runtime? For those people who do not know about um, basically Databricks, it's basically the different versions of Databricks. That's what you can understand. Like it's 10.4 for Data Odyssey cluster and it's 15.4 for Swami Paridas cluster. Why have you kept it? I've kept it purposefully. We'll get to know why purposefully. All right. Now, other aspects in the UI, what we can see. Let's not get into detail, right? On those aspects, let's just understand that what do we need to do when we want to create a table. Maybe like this video, of course, is in Databricks. Like how to create that on Databricks because it's the most widely known compute service. But like if you want me to explain you on other compute services, maybe on the local, that also we can do. But let's just understand this. All right. Now there's a difference between data Odyssey cluster and Soumya cluster. It's not only on the runtime basis that I'm trying to tell there's a difference, but there's another difference. What's the difference basically? Alright. Now when I get in the Soumya Paritas cluster, it's the by default kind of cluster basically that Databricks provide. So of course we have taken 15.4 version, right? We have taken I for I dot large. We can take whatever we want. And our mean worker and max worker, these are the worker nodes basically, is 2 to 8. It's auto scaling that I've kept. Alright, that's what we have done. But the access mode, that's the most important thing, is what is most important basically, is dedicated. That means it's single user. And you can see my name over here. Alright, that's what you can see. Now, when you get into the advanced options, these are certain things that I had tried to um, keep, but this didn't work. Now I'll tell you why it didn't work. All right. See, of course, you have gone through this. Access mode is dedicated, single user or group access. It's on your perimeter. You've got to know about it. Now let's understand what services I've kept. Like what are the uh, configurations I've kept for data OTC cluster. When you get in the data OTC cluster, my access is mode is what? It's no isolation shared. Okay. So when I click on the edit button, you can see there are multiple things: dedicated, standard, no isolation shared. For the Soumya Paridas cluster, you might have seen that I have kept dedicated. All right, it's in all languages. But for this data Odyssey cluster, it's no isolation shared. Now there is a specific reason why I have done this. Okay, what is the specific reason for this? Basically, when I keep dedicated or standard, what happens is Databricks makes use of the unit catalog. It's a catalog provided by the people of Databricks. All right. Now, the table format which Databricks had given is basically a delta table format. All right, it's their own in-house table format. But going forward in future, what happened when multiple table format came into existence, like the iceberg, the hoodie, they understood that no, it is not possible that we'll only tell users to use our table format. If we want to make a global platform, then we can give them a choice to what kind of table format they want to use. But for this, they did not do it directly. Now there's a basic loophole within it, all right? Or maybe it's the intelligence on their part that they have done this basically purposefully. Was the intelligence? Okay, so give me one minute or give me some time. I'll tell you what's the intelligence that they have applied that will not create dependence upon other table format, but will also use them. That kind of independence that they have done. All right. Now, so just keep in mind that no isolation shared is the access mode for data ODC cluster. All right. And over here, we'll not be able to use the catalog provided by the people of Databricks. All right. What is catalog? We have seen that in the past few videos, right? So the catalog provided by the people of Databricks is Unity catalog. So if you use dedicated or standard, you will be using their Unity catalog basically. But when you use no isolation share, that means you will be using not using the Unity catalog basically. All right. Now, why did I do it? There's a reason behind this. Again, next thing is you might be asking that like I told you in the past last video that like in the last few minutes that what is the Spark configuration I set up for. Okay, let me duplicate this and tell you that what I'm trying to tell to you people. So initially, I had actually tried to set up the usual kind of cluster which uses the Unity catalog basically, um, like set up Iceberg on it, but it didn't happen. Now to set up Iceberg, these are the properties that you need to have in place. Okay, I tried it, but even though these properties I've put up this configuration, these are not usable basically. All right, the same configurations I've put up over here, it's nothing different. So what I've done, I've kept the Spark catalog as one of the configuration is this. What kind of catalog I want to use? It's the Hadoop catalog and the warehouse location basically. These are the three Spark configuration. But apart from that, Data ODC cluster also has something different. Now what is it? Okay. See, when you get under the libraries, you will see that I have a Iceberg Spark runtime jar. Now, in order to run Iceberg table format along with Spark as a compute engine, basically, you require basically a connection, right? Now, this kind of connection is set up by this runtime jar. I had downloaded it. Now, there should be a equal match between the Spark uh, version and the Iceberg version. Like you cannot set up any version of Iceberg with any version of Spark. That's not possible basically. So that's the specific reason again that I have chosen 10.4 for this. So for this particular Iceberg version, like which has the specific version of Iceberg, this jar basically, that particular um, cluster configuration is possible. Okay, 10.4 basically. All right. Now, for Swami Paridas cluster, I did not do it. I chose 15.4. Now there's a difference again. I told you, like I'm using the Unity catalog over there. But for here, where I'm using the jar, basically, I'm using the 10.4 version. Now, just don't get confused. So by default cluster, it's by default kinds of cluster which Iceberg base which Databricks basically provide. It's this cluster, right? No kind of settings are put in place over here. But Data ODC cluster is a special cluster. The access mode is kept to no isolation shared, where I'm not using the Unity catalog. And then again, I have had to use the runtime jar. Iceberg Spark runtime jar basically in order to use Iceberg specifically. Now there's a difference in the way I use these two clusters. Now what's the difference? You'll get to know. Okay, let me get to the workspace. Okay, now when it is shared, you can see over here I have two demos to be shown to you people. One is the Delta Uniform and another is the Hadoop catalog. So let me open that up. Okay, it's opening, right? Now let us first understand that what cluster I will use for this particular um, demo. So the cluster that I'm using for this particular demo is actually Data Odyssey cluster, which is a special cluster. Now what's the purpose for this? Again, you will ask, right? So when you see over here using Iceberg, okay, you cannot use this directly on that on the default kind of cluster which Databricks basically provides. You need to set up a special cluster. All right. So basically, what happens that for those clusters which require Unity catalog, you cannot use this using Iceberg kind of thing in this code basically. All right. So for example, if I show to you people, let me just drop the table. I just for practice, I have like just to check whether things are performing correctly or not. I had kept this table, but let me drop it and show to you people what is happening. I dropped this table correctly. Okay. Now, what I've done, create table if not exists, department, department ID, department name, business unit, using Iceberg, partition by business unit. Now, when I run this, what will happen? The table will get created. It's the way which Iceberg tells basically, right? It's the basic um, like query that we write in order to create any table using Iceberg. All right. But when you but this is not basically possible on the default kind of cluster provided by Databricks people. It's the special cluster that I've kept. When you try to utilize the default kind of cluster provided by the people at Databricks will face an issue. Okay, on the special cluster that I've done, where I've um, kept these access mode as no isolation shared, this was possible. Now let me tell you what kind of issue like I faced when trying to create that particular table. Just see over here. I've done this. Now see what will happen. What issue is occurring. See, it's by default I've set up Swami Paridas cluster on the Delta Uniform demo. All right. Just let us see that what kind of error arises over here. So it's taking time, but let us wait. Like maybe what kind of issue comes up. Yeah, it's running right now, and see, it's giving an issue. Multiple sources found for Iceberg. Now, what is this multiple sources again? So it's telling that it has two classes that it can refer to. This one is one of the class, and this one is one of the class. Now, why it's occurring basically? So the default kind of cluster, Swami Paridas cluster is the default kind of cluster, right? So the default kind of cluster which um, Databricks kind of provides, it has its own way of utilizing or enhancing its services of inculcating iceberg table format basically, right? So what it tells that please do not use this using iceberg kind of thing to create your table. It doesn't want that we use the iceberg table format directly. What it tells basically is just don't use it directly, but indirectly you can take into consideration its features. Okay, it tells that. So it gives us an edge, not an edge basically, I guess. It gives us a feature or to use the iceberg features basically, but not directly utilize the table format. That's what it is doing. Okay.